So it's, the spiritual flexibility and the mental flexibility comes from like talking yourself up every day, being like, no, you are good enough. No, you can do this. No, this is going to be hard, but we don't say no and we don't back down.
Hi, I'm Debra, an executive coach, consultant, and the founder of Do Better. After years of leading in education, often in spaces not built, I now support others doing the same, especially women of color who are leading, healing, building, and figuring it out as they go. This is Do Better with Debra, real talk about legacy, leadership, healing, and courage to lead shrinking. We are all navigating so much, and we're still showing up. This space is here to remind you that you are already enough. Welcome back to Do Better with Debra. Today I'm sitting down with two incredible women, Monica and Kalei, who I both know personally and admire deeply. Both of them have taught me something about what it really means to build a business, the courage it takes, the doubts that you have to push through, the identity shifts, and balancing the act of being a partner, and for them being a mother, and a woman who still chooses herself. I wanted to do this episode because so many of us feel that pull to create something on our own, but we talk ourselves out of it. We convince ourselves it's not the right time, or we're not ready, or that staying safe is the better choice. So today we're talking about the truth, taking the leap, what it took, what it cost, and what it gave back. My hope today is that a woman listening who's sitting on a dream hears something that reminds her she's not behind, she's not alone, and that it's possible, and that she's allowed to choose herself. First, Monica Varela is owner of the Foundry in Old Pasadena, where she's created a warm, safe, and beautifully creative space for people to feel like the best versions of themselves. With more than 14 years in the industry, she's known for her naturally defined brow style and her ability to make people feel seen and comfortable the moment they sit in her chair. Monica built her business through intuition, integrity, and a deep commitment to human-centered beauty. And then my next guest is Kalei Mahi, who's the founder and chief legacy officer of Next Gen Legacy, NIL, where she helps student athletes understand their value, build a personal brand, and navigate NIL with clarity and confidence. With over 15 years of experience working with global brands and her background as a Division I swimmer, Kalei brings a powerful blend of expertise, heart, and protection to the young athletes she serves. I'm so excited to be in conversation with these two powerful entrepreneurs. Let's get into it. Hello, friends.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm so excited to be here with the both of you today. I was just telling the audience a little bit about both of you, but maybe you could introduce yourselves, tell us a little bit about what your businesses are. It's really important for me to highlight you, potential customers. I don't know, but maybe Monica, we could start with you.
Sure. Well, I'm Monica Varela. I'm a business owner in Old Pasadena. I'm a brow artist. I started my business 5 years ago. I opened up a cute little studio, a sweet space in Old Town. I have a great, diverse clientele that I was able to build throughout the years. I started in Old Town, Pasadena, at a wonderful salon down the street from where I work now, and they are still very supportive. So I've been really lucky to step out on my own and create this clientele that is very diverse, open. Not everyone's very like-minded, but we are, as far as just having a good time, feeling safe, comfortable, and just allowing you to be you when you walk into my space. So it's been an amazing experience so far.
I think the first time we met in person, Debra, I said to you, "Oh God, your brows look so good. Who do you go to?"
Monica.
Thank you.
You have an amazing work. It's beautiful, and I need a Monica out here in South Bay. I'm Kalei. I am a former Division I swimmer. I did a stint in the corporate and the brand world, working for a variety of companies in the Fortune 100 and Fortune 500 sector. Transitioned into agency life, which every time I tried to leave, they just sucked me back in. It was very Godfather-esque. I I worked in the influencer space not that long ago for a few years and realized that there is an opportunity for student athletes to really monetize their name, image, and likeness, or NIL. But there's not a lot of education out there. There's a huge gap in understanding what goes into building a personal brand, being financially literate or savvy, understanding contracts. And as a mom, I saw this education gap where I would never want my sons to walk into a space, hopefully in the future scholarship for sports, but I want them to feel informed and like they can spot the bad actors or the predatory behavior out there in contracts. And I made the leap this year into creating my own agency. And now I'm working with universities like Yale and student athletes on the Olympic sports side, specifically with women, because the earning potential for women is phenomenal. It's huge. And I think it's an untapped space that I can help propel women forward in there. So just with the background that I have, I took an audit of what I could offer and said, I have a very unique value proposition that I could bring to this space. More women seem to be jumping in, and I want to be one of the forefront saying, let's go. There's space for us all at the table. So let's figure out how to get together and make this an industry where women are leveraging their experience and their voices to make an impactful change in college athletics.
Two powerful women. Before we get started, my question is, how's your heart today?
Today is a joyful heart because my nephew is about to be born. So I'm very, very excited for this week. But, during the times of the holidays, there's two schools of thought. When I was in corporate and agency life, December seemed to be like the throwaway month, right? You work for a couple of weeks and then everybody sort of coasts. As an entrepreneur, I feel like you continue to just propel yourself forward and you continue to send the notes and the emails to potential partners or clients and just let them know that you're still there. Understanding, though, that you're not going to potentially get a response. That's not a rejection, but it's one of those, like, you have to continuously stay on top of your business to prepare yourself for the next couple of weeks that are coming up. But I would say today is a joyful heart because we have new life coming into this family, and we're really excited for the holidays. So I am very, very happy.
I would say mine is grateful. It's busy season for salons and it gets a little slow during summer, and that's
Sure.
okay. We're all pretty used to that. And then, of course, you kind of question yourself, like, where did my people go?
Oh.
They're all here. And they're all booking, and I have a lot of new clientele, and I'm learning that a lot of them are coming from Reddit, which I didn't realize there was a stream, people talking about me, which is really wonderful. And so I just feel really grateful and just taking in all these new clients and making space. And I'm looking forward to these next couple of weeks being busy. Yeah. So
It's awesome. Awesome. So you both mentioned you are wives, mothers, business owners, who decided at some point to take a leap of faith and bet on yourself and become business owners. I can't imagine that this has been an easy journey for either of you. And it probably took a lot, it cost a lot, but also has given you a lot back. My hope that our listeners today will be able to hear what it feels like to live out this dream. So many people have dreams and we don't act on them. So I'm really excited to hear from you both. So, I have my list of questions, but the first question I think I want to ask is, was there a catalyst for you to say, like, I can't do that 8 to 5 anymore? I would say probably for many, we have this like ongoing like loop. I'm going to do it. I'm not going to do it. Okay. I'm going to stay. No, I got to go. Wait. Right. So this back and forth, what was it that finally said, I'm doing?
for me, being in the service industry, I've always kind of worked for myself. I was definitely working for a salon, but I was an independent contractor. Um, but also, following, their protocols. And my boss, the owner, was definitely a mentor and push the stylists to create their own identity and really focus in on what they do best. I was also able to venture out and travel to San Francisco and work with another brow artist who asked me to come and take clientele up there with my microblading skills and I started building a clientele in the Bay Area. And I was going up every 5 to 6 weeks. And I was realizing that, wow, I can really do this on my own. And asking questions like, how much does this cost? Like, what does this look like for me? Is it comparable to what I'm paying into already? So I just woke up one day and said, I'm going to do some research. And I started to Google spaces in my area. And I found the place that I'm working at right now. And I just figured, let's do it. And I did it. It didn't come easy because I signed the lease 2 weeks prior to the shutdown. So my fear initially going into it was, oh my goodness, client's going to follow me. Because a lot of my clients shared stylists that cut hair there. And now I'm moving. And are they going to follow me? Or are they going to stay and maybe see the other esthetician because, you know, she's great, but also the convenience of it all. But they all followed me immediately when I told them. They were all very excited. So I thought, okay, cool. This is happening. And then the shutdown. That was my challenge because I figured I don't want to touch anybody's face. Do they want to come see me? The fear, everything was the unknown. But I ended up building the space that felt very safe. I followed protocol, and people were looking for something that was quaint, more one-on-one, not a space that was big, where there was a bunch of people around. Everyone focus was different when it came to that time. And so I created this safe space, and luckily I was able to build my business off of a pandemic, which is crazy. Yeah, it was a whirlwind, honestly.
I applaud taking that leap, especially in such a uncertain time in the early 2020s, where it feels weird to say that, but taking that leap into saying, nah, I'm going to do it for myself now. And you had followers, right? With this, with NIL in the space that I'm in now, the journey was the decision was made for me for a couple of reasons. There were layoffs that happened between 2020 and 2025 for a variety of reasons. And a lot of it usually will stem to making, the investors happy. And that's unfortunate. And unfortunately, that's business. But it also gave me an opportunity to say, I'm going to do this differently. I'm going to treat influencer and the creator economy and student athletes very, very differently. And what I saw with that leap is freedom. I had a lot of freedom to put my flag in the ground and say, I'm doing things differently, not because I have investors behind me or I have a boss telling me that this is what they do to keep their clients happy. People look for me to give them expertise and advice and direction and strategy. If they choose not to work with me, that's okay. But I'm not going to flex on my integrity as a person just to win the business, right? And sometimes we'll see that happening with agencies or corporate companies. But for me, I want to be highly selective because if people are willing to pay the price that I am charging for my expertise and advice, that's the kind of clientele that I want to have. People who value the direction and the experience that I have and, shaping what their future could look like through name, image, and likeness. So this was born out of necessity for me. And I've never been happier and more fulfilled and challenged and stretched and grateful to operate in a space that I'm so passionate about. So it doesn't feel like work. It feels like an adventure, a very frustrating adventure at times, but it certainly feels very fulfilling when you have a parent sends an email who says, I actually felt so overwhelmed, but now you've broken it down in such a digestible way where I can help my child. And that right there feels like my goal has been accomplished. And then when they pass the names on to friends and they make recommendations and they say, oh, can you work with a teammate of mine? That's the greatest reward. It's like repeat customers for you, Monica. It's when they evangelize about your business and you have those new customers coming in, the best feeling ever. Like you feel like you're doing something right.
Absolutely. And you mentioned being selective, and that's a part of how I really built a great clientele.
Yeah.
I don't try to push myself into doing something that I don't feel comfortable with. Even when you just meet somebody for the first time, when I'm giving a consultation and,
Right.
I do microblading and, it's natural tattooing. At least that's that's my focus is really just kind of working with someone's brow and making it look fuller and natural. And it goes with,
Right.
their brow pattern and their bone structure and what they do. They wear a lot of makeup? Are they a very natural person? What is your style like? What is your everyday, look like? And
Right.
so really talking to people about, what they want to achieve. And so I've created this clientele where now that's who I see. And if I do find somebody who's like, well, we can build on that and we can make it darker, I'm like, you know what? I don't think I'm that person for you.
Sure.
I know someone who does that beautifully, um, and I will refer them out. And I think, even because of that, I have gained more clientele. I went to this person, but Monica does this, this specific look. And so I kind of weed out people that have expectations that I can't achieve because I have, been there in the beginning. When I first started, I started off with a very bold brow and people were like, this is too much. And I'm like,
Sure.
okay, well, I didn't know any different because I was just taught that way. And then with time, you realize, I could take a step back and,
Right.
it doesn't have to be so crazy. So, but being
I think
selective, yes.
there's something to be said about establishing boundaries, right? Whether it's your boundaries with your time or your talent, or literally could be anything, right? What you're putting on somebody's face is a signature of yours, right? And so when people ask you to compromise that, you're like, do I want my name associated with that? Probably not, and it's the same thing with boundaries of time. You can have these exhaustive conversations with folks and they try every which avenue to get you to do what they want you to do. But there's such power in saying that's not me, and that's okay. And you and I think very parallel paths in that sense with our businesses, is that if I can't answer a question or you're looking for more than what I can offer, I will gladly send you someplace to somebody I trust that I would send my own children to take care of you.
Yes. And energy.
Yes.
If
Yes.
somebody has energy where it just doesn't feel right, my intuition,
Yep.
I am okay with saying, oh, I don't think I'm the right artist for you.
Right. Do you
And
think that your intuition kicked in more though now as a business owner? Do you think it's heightened because of it?
yeah, oh, for sure. Absolutely. Also, before I was a brow artist, I waited tables. I was always working with, public and making connections that way. And so you kind of start to learn how to read people, especially in the service industry.
Mhm.
And I took that with me when I started doing skincare and makeup and brows. You really sense people's personality. And so energy is huge, huge. And not everyone sticks with me. I see somebody new and I'll never see them again. And maybe they didn't feel me. And that's okay too. There is a billion eyebrows out there. I don't have to see everybody. So it's good.
You are listening to the Do Better with Debra podcast with guest brow artist and business owner Monica Varela and Chief Legacy Officer of Next Gen Legacy NIL, Kalei Mahi. Make sure to visit dobetterexecutivecoaching.com and learn how you can lean into your power and lead with confidence, purpose, and joy. And now back to the podcast.
What I really love about this is hearing from both of you, and something that I really subscribe to is being human centered, right? So this connection to humans and wanting to do the best for them, right? There's a human centered to that. I don't know that we're often taught about human centeredness in the workplace. It's really transactional a lot of times. You've talked about energy and the things that are important to your business now, but are there things that you've had to unlearn when you launched into betting on yourselves and launching your businesses?
I think from the experience that I've had on the agency side, where it's all about pleasing the client, right?
Mhm.
Because for some agencies, if you are a campaign or project-based agency, you're only as good as your last client. If your client is happy, you expect that they're going to come back, but how do you make them happy? Usually by playing it safe, not challenging them, not disagreeing, or offering alternative solutions that may be different from theirs. In this business now, I had to unlearn that. Before I was about that people pleasing and making sure that, the clients and the customers are happy, and I was willing to show flexibility. But now I have to change my mentality of, you came to me with a question. You came to me with a problem, and you know that I have the solution. So, yes, I will give you space to make your case and provide your argument and why you think what you're doing is right or better than what I can offer. But at the same time, don't get it twisted. You came to me. And so I have to make sure that if I'm starting to find myself compromising on my experience or my integrity or my time or my boundaries or those things, then I am actually okay firing a client. I'm okay with that because, again, I've held true to myself. And yes, could that damage my bottom line? Sure. Does that frustrate my husband? Sure. But at the end of the day, I can stand 10 toes down and say with my whole chest that I actually stuck to my laurels and I stuck to what is important to me and the ethos of my brand and my company. And that's okay. And to your point, human-centric behavior is not something that's supported as freely as it should be in a corporate environment. I think a lot of people would be much happier if they had the kind of support that leaders should give. I don't think they're equipped to do it, and they should be.
Maybe you have to unlearn Monica.
To ask for help.
So
Yes. So good.
Good one.
So good.
You want to do it all and you want to take control, but it's okay. I'm learning it's okay to say, I can't do that. I don't have the time. I have to leave at a certain time. I have boundaries. I want to make space for my kids. They're getting older. And I mean, I've always have made space for them, but I feel like with their age right now, one being 16, the other being 10, they both have such different needs. I just really want to hone in on making sure that I am present for them. Being a business owner allows you to do that. At least I'm learning that I can still be very successful with the amount of time and days that I am there for my clientele. And, show up by taking my kids to school, picking them up, going to practice, watching track and field, cross country, play dates, what have you, homework, cooking. I want to do it all. I can't. Luckily, I have a great partner, my husband. He's Mr. Mom. He really is. He does a lot. So creating that balance has been something that was challenging because, again, I'm a control freak. Things done my way, so letting go. But yeah.
You said something so fascinating, though, when you said asking for help, right? It's like asking for help is not a weakness. It's saying, I can't do everything and I need somebody else to step up and help me carry the load. And that's all right. And sometimes that's all you need as a woman and as a mom and as a friend is to hear somebody say, I see you, I hear you. How else can I help and show up for you so you don't feel so overwhelmed? And then you turn around and you pay that forward to somebody else.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I watched my mom, 4 kids, volunteering, starting organizations, working, was a wife, took care of
So
her
much.
family. And, I know she loved doing that, but I think she was burnt out.
Yeah.
I could see it and I could feel it, and when you're a child and you're seeing your parent lose their mind and they kind of take it out on you because it's like we do sometimes, right? I just, we're not perfect, but I learned a lot from that. Like, it's something I don't want to do. Yes, I want to be successful for my father, but I also want to make space and take care of myself, take care of my body, rest,
Truly.
breathe, exercise, walk. I don't know, whatever that is, whatever that means for me, just to be restorative, just this new restorative state that I'm in right now.
Yeah.
I think also it's just my age, right? Going into my late 40s, and it's like my body's different, the way I take in information. I don't know. I need to breathe. I need to relax. I need some alone time, and that's okay. That's okay. So.
I love about that asking for help piece also, not just of your partners, but of other people, right? Like, how do you tap into other people without like feeling embarrassed? But that's the whole asking. The more that I talk to people, I'm like, oh, you have an expertise? I was talking to somebody a couple of months ago, and she's like, I want it all for my business. I want it
Same.
all.
So do I.
Right? And I was like, right? So right. Like, and how are we going to do that? We have to ask for help and support. What has been the biggest way that you've been stretched emotionally, mentally, or spiritually? Because this is not easy.
No, it's not easy. At least personally speaking, the stretch for me is trying to battle the imposter syndrome of like, do I belong here? Am I worthy enough to be here? Do I have enough expertise? Have I just gassed myself up to think that I can actually offer something here? And there's this internal dialogue where you just kind of get exhausted of hearing like yourself sort of spiral and think of all of the reasons why you shouldn't get into the space. And I think you and I talked about this, Debra, over text was, what if we changed our mindset to, instead of anticipate failure, how do we anticipate success? Because we've been conditioned, at least I have in the past, of if you didn't work out hard enough, if you didn't, treat your practices like it was the last practice before the big race, you're not going to do well. So maybe don't try as hard. You're already setting yourself up you're talking yourself out of, what if I actually do great? What if I break a record? We have to condition ourselves to be our own cheerleaders, and trying to be my own personal cheerleader has been very difficult because there have been times I look in the mirror and go, what the hell did you decide to do? Why don't you just go back to where there's a 401k and there's, benefits and there's all these things, you can take the load off of your husband. But then there's that small part of me in the back chirping, being like, no, you actually have something great to do. So it's, the spiritual flexibility and the mental flexibility comes from like talking yourself up every day, being like, no, you are good enough. No, you can do this. No, this is going to be hard, but we don't say no and we don't back down.
Yeah. When I started this business 5 years ago, like I said, during the pandemic, I was doing really well. I thought I need to do more. I know I can do more. So my neighbor next door ended up leaving his unit, and I decided to take it over and expand. And so I took down the wall, I rebuilt, and I hired a few artists to work with me and mentor them. And, it was really nice, but I felt stretched. And I realized maybe I don't need more to feel successful. And I ended up actually moving myself back into my little space. Well, I never gave it up, but just really focusing on that, and decided, actually, I don't need to build something bigger. I thought I did. I thought, oh, my purpose was to be this mentor. I can still be that without having this extra space that is financially kind of exhausting me, honestly. So I let it go. I ended up leasing it out to a dear friend who does hair I worked with at the previous salon. I helped her build her business with the space that I created. And eventually she bought me out, which was wonderful. And now we're next door neighbors, and we already share a lot of the same clientele. And so it's been this really wonderful partnership, but because it's her own business.
Yeah.
And I have my own. So we really just complement each other. And I guess I just realized stretching myself was something I didn't need to do. That I feel very successful with trying and helping out a friend and really focusing in on what I like to do best. And I do have a lash artist and another facialist working with me. And that itself is perfect. I feel okay. I don't think I need more. I just think I need consistency, and that's really it.
What have you learned about women supporting women? Not often do we hear the good stories about it. Often we hear the competition. And I would say, I'm trying to think about my last podcast for this season and like the lessons that I've learned in 2026. And I have to say, the more that I've asked from women to support, the more that I've received. I'm like, wow, like, why didn't I like lean into this before? Why did I like let these thoughts of like, no, I have to do this by myself. There's no one that's going to really help me. There's no really support. But you've both been so giving to me. Like, I'm curious about this sisterhood. Is there one? How do we expand it? How do we support each other more?
I have been really fortunate. I have been raised by a strong woman, my mother. All of her friends are like my tias. They're all part of my family. They're my soul. They're all powerful Latina women who just were go-getters, listen, not judgmental, very open to conversation. My grandmother, my aunts, I mean, working in salons, I have to say, union salon, I started off at, and all of those women are my friends. I'm really fortunate to have that in my life. You know, I'm still best friends with girls I met when I was 13. Oh, 30 something years of friendship. Yeah, I feel very, very fortunate that that's been a part of my and has guided me and why I feel okay now asking for help. I mean, not so much with them, but even just with like my husband or with, like, hey, it's like, oh, you're also part of that too. You're also part of that group, And so I'm very lucky.
It's similar. I would love if there was some sort of psychology study on women who grow up in supportive families and are surrounded by, like for you, on the Hawaiian side, for me, I have the aunties and uncles, and I have probably 200 of them. And am I blood related to most of them? No, but those are the family members who would show up all of the time. On the Italian side, it's the same way for us, so we were very rooted in family, and we had great examples from our great grandparents on up. But I also, there were, similar to you, having friends that I've made from my very first job working for American Express. I'm still in touch with some of those people, which is wild. But I want to create a world and put the energy into the world that I would like to receive back in the future. So if that is supportive and that's collaborative and, is not based on competition and always kind of side-eyeing the woman next to me being like, well, why is she trying to go after the same thing I am? I've learned to sort of ditch that and say, if I continue to lead with grace and intention and acceptance and, have this mentality of there's room for everybody, that's going to serve me better than if I were to go in thinking that everybody is out to get me and every woman is trying to step on my neck to get to the client that I'm trying to get to. Our lives are too short to think about the negative and to put out negative energy like that. And to be honest with you, like, negative energy makes you have wrinkles. So no thanks, I'm good. But I want to have,
Well, you don't have any, so you must be putting out a lot of good energy.
A lot of good energy. But thank you. But it's about uplifting those around us. Like, I have so much to learn from even this Gen Z generation coming up behind us. I have a lot to learn from them because they seem to be really rooted in like empathy and they tend to lean into their feelings a little bit more than we ever grew up with. At least coming up for me, it was all about the grind and you're not worried about what your coworker, your colleague, or your neighbor is doing. You just solely put on your blinders and focus on yourself. But this younger generation seems to want to care about those around them. And I wanted to live that way as well. I want my sons to live that way. I'm raising men who I want to be smart and empathetic and kind and resourceful and to be the ones who are hyping their peers up around them. Like, cheering for somebody is a great thing. It's not a bad thing at all. But that's the kind of world I want to live in, is where I know there's support. And putting that support out there, I think you tend to get that back tenfold.
So I grew up not in the same environment that you two described, but I very much want to support as many people as possibly can.
Oh, it's so obvious.
Not sure where I learned that, but it's possible. It's possible, even if you didn't grow up in that relationship. Like,
sure.
Monica, you're talking about energy. I just want to give as much energy good energy out there as possible, right? The older you get, the more stories you have. And if I could teach what I know, then I want to make it easier for others.
Totally.
So, but yeah, I love that.
You were listening to the Do Better with Debra podcast with Dr. Debra Y. Griffith and her very special guests, esthetician, brow artist, and owner of the Brow Foundry in Old Town Pasadena, Monica Varela, and founder and chief legacy officer of Next Gen Legacy NIL, Kalei Mahi. You can find Monica at browfoundry.com or on Instagram of the same name. You can find Kalei at nextgenlegacynil.com as well as on Instagram. And now, back to the podcast.
So I think of you both as badasses, right? Who did you have to become in order to build this business, lead this business, own this business?
I had to become relentless and fearless to be in this business. Relentless in the sense that you are constantly, your mind constantly runs a million miles an hour and you're trying to figure out, okay, how do I solve this problem and who do I get in touch with? And did I do enough today? And, you do the mental gymnastics. Like, I wish I was Simone Biles, but like my hips are not that flexible anymore. But, it's that relentless pursuit of hard work and it's doing the hard things and showing up. But it's also standing in my power to say that I can do this. And I had to be this person who stopped feeling small and I had to make myself bigger and say, I'm going to take up space. There are going to be people who disagree with me. There's going to be people who will challenge me and there's going to be naysayers in the corner, but I'm going to make myself so big and take up so much room that love me or hate me, I'm here. And I'm going to do as much good as I can in this industry. And again, I'm here to open arms and encourage people to jump in. And if I can be a resource and help, great. If you're going to challenge me, that's okay too. It's no hard feelings. I mean, at least not from my end, but I had to make myself feel confident and big and take up the space. And I think women should do that more frequently. They don't need to ask for permission to do it. They just need to do it.
I know we already talked about this, but being selective, thoughtful, have some healthy boundaries. These are things that I've learned I needed to have in my life in order for me to run this business. And I think also pivoting, like being okay with pivoting.
Yeah.
Not everything's always going to work out, and it's okay to turn into a little bit of a different direction. And that could also expand your business. Pivoting has been really huge for me. Because, it's easy to think, oh God, I failed at this. Oh, I'm not doing well with this type of service. This isn't really for me. And just learning that it's okay. And let's move on. Let's keep going. Yeah.
I love
The
that.
pivot.
The pivot.
Love it. So you're both boy moms. What do you hope your children learn from watching you be the leap takers into business owners? What do you hope that they learn from you, from watching you do this?
Just to never give up.
Mm.
Keep trying. To have an open mind. Ask questions. Don't be afraid. No is not a terrible answer. Sometimes things are meant to not work out. It's okay.
That's good. That's good.
No, it's really good. For my sons, I always wanted to show that I could do it all, be everything, be the executive, be the leader, do all of these things. But now I'm less concerned about that and showing them that the journey is just as important as the destination, and that when things get really challenging or difficult or they're not yielding the kind of results that I'm going after, right? So we move on. We find other folks that we can reach out to where we feel like we can lend some good or some help. But we don't step back from a challenge. Every rejection is not a rejection, it's a learning opportunity. And that we don't say, I can't, this is hard or I can't. We just say, how do we figure out another way in? Be nimble. We're going to be like water. We're going to adapt and we're going to shift where we need to. But How do we say this is okay? This is all teachable learning opportunities for us and push forward? Because again, what if we succeed? Whoa. Or when we succeed, it is going to be great. When we succeed, it's going to be worth all of the hard work that we put in.
Yeah, I think you're already succeeding, right? But you want it all. So
Sure.
there are different levels of success. I launched during COVID. I'm still here. They're talking about me on Reddit, right?
Exactly.
I have Yale as my client. Like, you're succeeding. You're
Amazing.
succeeding, right? I have clients in this positive exchange of energy through conversations, through emails, through people sitting in your seat. Monica, like, you're succeeding,
Yeah.
right? Okay. I have two last questions. What would you tell women who are listening today that know that they're meant for something more, but are too scared to take the first step?
You just got to jump in, right? Start. I mean, because we suffer from analysis paralysis. I think women in general want to gather all the information and then decide, oh, do I fit or do I not fit? Absolutely not. Jump in and face first. Just go. Just start anything. Just do it. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? You're not going to die, you know? And then you don't ever have to ask for anybody's permission ever. You can jump in and you can create the life and the path and put yourself in a space that you want to be. So don't shrink yourself. Be present, be big, be bold, you know, and yes, you are going to have imposter syndrome in the back of your head, probably 24/7 for a while, but that's okay. Use that as motivation and just start.
Yeah, you said it all. Jump in. Exactly.
Awesome. So this is your self-reflective question. When you look at the woman you've become and the business owner that you've become, what are you the most proud of?
So for me, at least, I am proud to say that I am so incredibly, deeply, unapologetically passionate about this space that I'm navigating right now with name, image, and likeness, or NIL. I'm in a very male-dominated space, and I look at the woman in the mirror who says she can go 10 toes with an athletic director, or she can go 10 toes with a talent manager, and feel very confident that what I have experience-wise can benefit people in this space. So when I look at the woman in the mirror and I see the reflection staring back at me, there are some days where I feel not so great, and I'm like, ugh, can I do anything today? And there are other days where I'm like, yeah, you're that girl. You're that woman.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess the ability that I've been able to navigate work and life balance, it's taking some time. It's been hard. I would say a lot of people in my industry, well, we all do things differently, but for me, it was kind of taking my time building my clientele because I really wanted to be a part of raising my kids. So it was a lot of part-time for me. And then also for my husband. So we were just kind of like tag teaming. We would say we're married, but we're single parents.
Seriously, yeah.
And I gave a lot to, being a mom and trying to be present, but also, building your clientele and then dealing with life. I had my son when I was 30, my oldest. And then I got pregnant 6 years later. And during that time, my mother became ill. I had my second son. My mother was ill. She passed away. And so here I am now dealing with grief, a baby, a 6-year-old, and also, building this business. And so I took my time with that. And then I finally got to the point where I am now. And so I feel very powerful in that I was able to navigate life while creating the space for myself and building a beautiful home and sending my children to wonderful schools and living this great, beautiful community. And I did that. And that feels pretty powerful, So.
You guys are very powerful. No shrinking violence here. And I really have enjoyed having this conversation, being in conversation with you about how you walk with purpose, intention, um, and just your powerful beings. Thank you for what you're putting into the universe because it's remarkable.
Ah, thank
And
you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Debra. You're the best.
thanks for joining us today. Listening to Monica and Kalei reminds me that courage doesn't just show up all at once. It shows up in small decisions, quiet moments, and the willingness to take one step at a time. You don't have to be fearless. You just have to begin. You just have to start. And if you're listening and holding on to that dream and you've not acted on it yet, hope today reminded you of this. You already have what you need. Your life is allowed to expand, and you're absolutely worthy of building something that reflects who you're becoming. Until next time, take care of yourself, your purpose, and your dreams. And let's continue to do better together.
You've been listening to brow artist and business owner Monica Varela and Chief Legacy Officer Kalei Mahi. If you enjoyed this episode, follow the show, leave a rating or review, and share with a friend or colleague. You can always find Do Better with Debra on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and coming soon to YouTube. Thanks for listening.